Welcome back to Zcoins. Today we're diving deep into one of the most popular coin series in American history, the Washington Quarter. Specifically, we're talking about the top 5 most valuable Washington Quarter dollar coins that are worth serious money. We're talking thousands and in some cases even over $1 million in today's collector's market. Let's begin by setting the scene. The year was 1966. America was in the midst of cultural revolution, the Vietnam War was raging, and the coin shortage crisis of the early 60s had completely changed the U.S. Mint's policies. Following the Coinage Act of 1965, the Mint removed all silver content from quarters. That means the 1966 Washington Quarter was struck on a copper-nickel clad planchet rather than the 90% silver used in previous years. This change marked a major turning point in American coinage. So how does this affect the value of your 1966 quarter today? Well, for starters, the 1966 quarter is considered a transitional coin. It was minted in large numbers, over 821 million pieces in total. That makes it one of the most heavily produced quarters of the decade. And because it has no mint mark due to the Mint's decision to discourage coin hoarding, there's only one main version of the coin for circulation. However, not all 1966 quarters are created equal. There are a few rare and highly valuable varieties and errors that can make these coins worth serious money. First, let's talk about condition. A regular 1966 Washington Quarter in average circulated condition is generally worth its face value of 25 cents. However, coins in mint state condition, especially those graded MS65 or higher, can sell for anywhere from $10 to $50 depending on the market. But here's where things get interesting. If your 1966 quarter is in exceptional condition and graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, its value skyrockets. Only a small number of these high-grade examples exist, making them very desirable to collectors. One MS67 quarter has sold for over $2,000 at auction. Even more rare are the few examples in MS67 Plus or MS68 condition. These coins are worth thousands of dollars simply because of their pristine preservation and rarity. Now let's explore the most exciting part, errors and varieties. The 1966 Washington Quarter has some known mint errors that have fetched big money. These include double die obverse errors, where parts of the lettering or design appear doubled. Coins with strong doubling, especially on the words "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," are extremely valuable and sought after by collectors. Another notable error is the off-center strike. In this case, the coin is struck away from its intended center, creating a unique and dramatic look. Depending on how much of the design is still visible, these can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Then there's the struck on silver planchet error. Although silver was officially removed from quarters in 1965, a few silver planchets were accidentally left behind and used to strike 1966 quarters. These silver planchet errors are exceedingly rare and can fetch thousands of dollars when authenticated. Let's not forget about proof-like and special mint set coins. Because the U.S. Mint did not issue proof sets in 1966, they released special mint sets instead. These SMS coins have a higher level of detail and a semi-proof finish. Some of these 1966 SMS quarters show cameo contrast, meaning there is a frosted design against a mirrored background. Cameo and deep cameo examples are especially rare and command premium prices. A deep cameo 1966 SMS quarter graded SP67 or higher could be worth several $100s, and even more if it's flawless. In recent years, the market for high-grade modern coins has exploded. More collectors are recognizing the value of top-condition clad coins from the 60s and 70s. This has driven up prices at auctions and increased the demand for coins like the 1966 Washington Quarter in pristine condition. So how do you know if your 1966 quarter is valuable? Start by checking the condition. Look for sharp details, no major scratches, and strong luster. Consider having it graded if you believe it might be in mint state or better. Next, inspect the coin for any doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual coloring that might suggest an error or special variety. And if you think it might be a leftover silver planchet, weigh it. A standard clad quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter will weigh closer to 6.25 grams. That small difference can make a huge impact on value. Whether you're a new collector or a seasoned numismatist, the 1966 Washington Quarter dollar deserves a second look. While most of them are worth just face value, a rare few are worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. It all comes down to condition, rarity, and those elusive mint errors. So next time you're going through your change or searching old coin rolls, keep an eye out for that special 1966 quarter. You just might have a hidden treasure in your hands. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of United States coin collecting, and we have an incredible story to tell about one specific coin that might be hiding in plain sight. It is the 1970 Washington quarter dollar, and believe it or not, this ordinary-looking coin can be worth thousands of dollars depending on a few important factors. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the full story of the 1970 Washington quarter, from its origins to its rare varieties and current market value. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been in circulation since 1932. It was first introduced to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Originally struck in 90% silver, the composition of the coin changed in 1965. Starting that year, quarters were no longer made with silver but instead used a copper-nickel clad composition. That's the kind of metal used for the 1970 D quarter as well. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint, where this coin was struck. Now let's talk about how many were made. In 1970, the Denver Mint produced over 500 million Washington quarters. That's 500 million coins. So why would any of these be worth more than face value? Why would anyone pay big money for a coin that had such a massive mintage? The answer lies in the details. It is all about condition, rarity, and one fascinating mint error. First up is condition. Most of the 1970 D quarters you'll find today are worn from circulation. These are generally only worth their face value, 25 cents. However, if you find a 1970 D quarter in mint state condition with no wear, sharp details, and strong luster, then you may be holding a coin worth a lot more. Collectors are willing to pay good money for coins that are in pristine shape. Mint state 65 and above examples can fetch anywhere from $20 to over $100 depending on their appearance and quality, but that's just the start. What really sets the 1970 D Washington quarter apart is a specific and extremely rare error variety that was discovered years later. This coin is known as the 1970 D quarter, struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter. Yes, you heard that right. A few rare specimens were mistakenly struck on silver planchets intended for Canadian coins. These are incredibly rare and highly sought after by serious collectors. Imagine finding a coin that looks like an ordinary 1970 D quarter, but under close examination, you notice faint traces of older designs beneath the surface. This is called a double strike or overstrike error, and when it happens on a foreign coin blank, the rarity skyrockets. In the case of the 1970 D quarter overstruck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, the error is so dramatic and unique that one of these coins sold at auction for over $35,000. That's right. One coin that normally would be worth just 25 cents ended up selling for tens of thousands due to a rare minting mistake and the use of a silver foreign coin blank. So how do you spot one of these? The most noticeable feature is the presence of undertype remnants of the Canadian quarter design that are still faintly visible, especially around the rims. You would likely need a magnifying glass or microscope to see the details clearly. If you ever suspect you have one, it's worth sending to a professional coin grading company for verification. Beyond this specific variety, collectors also look for coins with strong strikes, full details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, and no visible wear. A coin with full luster and a clean strike from the Denver Mint is always going to attract interest, especially if it has been certified by a top-tier grading company like PCGS or NGC. As of now, the regular 1970 D quarters in mint state 65 condition usually sell for around $20 to $40. Higher grades like mint state 66 or 67 can fetch well over $100 depending on the market. But the rare error varieties are in an entirely different category. They are ultra rare and can be worth thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. So what does this mean for you? Well, it means checking your change has never been more exciting. The next time you receive a quarter dated 1970 with a D Mint mark, take a close look. Does it have unusual markings? Does it look like it was struck on a different kind of metal? Is it unusually shiny or detailed? These are all signs that you may have something special. In the world of coin collecting, knowledge is power. Understanding the small details that separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one can turn your pocket change into a serious treasure. The story of the 1970 D Washington quarter is proof that even modern-looking coins can be worth a fortune under the right circumstances. Before we wrap up, here are a few quick tips. Always check for errors and overstrikes. Learn to identify mint marks and strike characteristics. And if you think you've found a rare variety, consult a professional or have the coin graded. The cost of certification is often worth it, especially if the coin turns out to be valuable. Today we're diving deep into one of the most talked about coins in recent American numismatics. We're talking about the legendary 1982 D Washington quarter dollar. You may have one sitting in your change jar right now and it could be worth a lot more than 25 cents. In fact, depending on the condition and variety, some of these coins are selling for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. Let's start with the basics. The 1982 Washington quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, hence the D Mint mark. But what makes the 1982 D quarter so interesting is that it came at a turning point in U.S. mint history. That year, the mint was under significant budget constraints. As a result, something unusual happened. The mint didn't produce uncirculated coin sets in 1982 or 1983. That means there are fewer high-grade examples of these coins today. And that scarcity is a key factor behind the rising value of 1982 D quarters. Another big reason collectors go after the 1982 D quarter is the fact that it's one of the few modern quarters with significant errors and varieties that carry real value. One of the most famous is the so-called no mint mark error from the Philadelphia Mint, but even more exciting is the strong and weak strike differences on the 1982 D quarters. You see, not all 1982 D quarters are created equal. Some were struck with sharp detail. Others were struck with worn dies, creating a weak or mushy appearance. Collectors refer to these as strong strike and weak strike varieties. The strong strike examples, where the date and the mint mark are bold and clear, are considered more desirable and can bring serious money in the right condition. Now, let's talk about condition. Condition is king in coin collecting. A heavily circulated 1982 D quarter that's been through decades of pocket change might be worth only face value or a little more. But a mint state coin, something that grades MS65 or higher, especially with a strong strike, can sell for big bucks. We're talking prices upwards of $50, $100, or even several $100 depending on the market and the demand. In fact, there was one example of a 1982 D quarter graded MS68 by a top-tier grading service that sold for over $1,000 at auction. Why such a high price? It all comes down to rarity in top grades. Very few of these coins survived in pristine condition because most were immediately put into circulation. And without those uncirculated sets from 1982, collectors are left scrambling for high-grade examples, but we're not done yet. There's also the matter of transitional planchet errors. While it's extremely rare, some 1982 quarters have been found struck on older copper planchets rather than the copper-nickel clad composition. These kinds of minting anomalies are incredibly valuable and can sell for thousands when authenticated and certified. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1982 D quarter? First, check the condition. Does it have a lot of wear or does it look crisp and new? Next, look closely at the date and the mint mark. Are the details sharp and strong? Is the D clearly visible? That could be a strong strike example, which is more desirable. Finally, if you think you have a rare error or an unusual metal composition, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation. Now let's look at the current market. As of now, a nice mint state 1982 D quarter can fetch anywhere from $20 to $100. The top grade examples in MS67 or MS68, especially with a strong strike, are selling in the range of $300 to over $1,000 at auction. Error coins or those with unusual characteristics can go even higher. One tip for collectors: prices have been rising steadily as more people get into coin collecting and as high-grade coins get harder to find. So if you're looking to invest, or simply want to collect a piece of American coin history, the 1982 D Washington quarter is definitely one to watch. To sum it all up, the 1982 D quarter is more than just spare change. It's a snapshot of a unique moment in U.S. mint history. Between the lack of uncirculated sets, the differences in strike quality, and the rare errors, this coin has become a modern classic in the world of coin collecting. Today we're diving into the world of coin collecting and talking about a coin that might just be hiding in your pocket change, the 1990 Washington quarter dollar. This seemingly ordinary coin could be worth much more than its face value, so stick around because you won't believe what some collectors are paying for the rarest examples. Let's take it back to the basics. First minted in 1932, the Washington quarter was created to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design we know and recognize was created by John Flanagan and features a profile of George Washington on the obverse or the front of the coin with the word Liberty, the phrase "In God We Trust," and the date beneath his neck. On the reverse is a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings clutching arrows and olive branches, a symbol of both war and peace. Now fast forward to 1990, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters in that year, specifically over 927 million. That's a huge number, so most 1990 D quarters are still only worth 25 cents if they're in circulated condition. However, not all coins are created equal, and this is where things get really interesting. First of all, if you happen to have a 1990 D quarter in pristine uncirculated condition, or even better, a quarter that's been graded by a third-party service like PCGS or NGC with a grade of MS65 or higher, now you're talking about real money. Coins in that mint state can fetch between $10 and $50 depending on demand and visual appeal, but that's just the beginning. Some coins from 1990 have mint errors, and those are where collectors go wild. Let's talk about some of those errors that can turn your ordinary quarter into a small fortune. Double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, even coins struck on the wrong metal planchet have been found from this year. For example, a 1990 D quarter with a dramatic off-center error sold for over $250, and a double die obverse, meaning doubling of the design elements like the date or the lettering, can be worth hundreds depending on how strong the doubling is and how well preserved the coin is. Another hot item among collectors is a 1990 D quarter that was struck on a planchet intended for a different coin. There have been examples of quarters struck on nickel planchets or even foreign coins. When these rare minting mistakes are authenticated, they can easily bring in thousands of dollars at auction. One such error coin sold for over $3,000 due to its rarity and the strong demand from error collectors. So how do you know if your 1990 D quarter is worth more than face value? First, check the overall condition. If it has sharp details and no signs of wear or scratches, it could be in mint state, which increases its value. Second, use a magnifying glass to check for any signs of doubling or strange features like missing letters, misaligned strikes, or odd metal colors. Those are clues that you might have an error coin. Third, if you think your coin might be special, consider sending it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A small fee upfront could result in a much higher return if your coin turns out to be rare or high grade. Now let's talk about the current market. As of now in 2025, a standard uncirculated 1990 D quarter in MS65 condition sells for around $15 to $30 online depending on eye appeal and toning. MS67 coins though are much scarcer and can sell for $100 or more at the highest end. A top pop MS68 1990 D quarter, meaning one of the finest known examples, can fetch over $1,500 at major auctions because collectors are always looking for the best of the best. Remember, the market for coins is always shifting based on collector interest, rarity, population reports, and condition. So even though millions were made, only a handful of those coins are truly valuable due to their condition or errors. So the next time you get change back at the store or clean out your coin jar, take a moment to look at those quarters, especially any 1990 D coins. You might just have a rare treasure sitting there unnoticed. Today's video, we are diving into the story and value of a modern yet fascinating coin, the 2021 D Washington quarter dollar. While it may seem like just another quarter to some, there is far more to this coin than meets the eye. From its design to potential mint errors to the big money being paid for rare varieties, this coin deserves a closer look. So grab your coin collection and stay tuned because you might just have a small fortune hiding in your change jar. Let's start with the background. The 2021 Washington quarter is part of the American women quarters transition era, but 2021 itself was a unique year. It marked the end of the America the Beautiful series and returned to a design known as the Washington Crossing the Delaware quarter. This design pays tribute to a key moment in American history, George Washington's daring crossing of the icy Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. It was intended to honor not just Washington, but the bravery of an entire generation who fought for American independence. Now here is what makes the 2021 D quarter special. First of all, the D mint mark stands for the Denver Mint. Millions of these quarters were struck, but as with many modern coins, not all of them are created equal. While most 2021 D quarters are only worth face value, a select few are worth significantly more due to condition, grade, or striking errors. Point one of the biggest factors affecting the value of a 2021 D quarter is the grade. A coin graded MS65, MS66, or even higher by PCGS or NGC, which stands for mint state, can command a much higher price. For example, while a standard circulated coin may only be worth 25 cents, an MS67 specimen has sold for over $200 at auction. Yes, that is right, over $200 for a modern quarter if it's in exceptional condition with no contact marks, strong luster, and a clean strike. Now let's talk about errors, and this is where things get really interesting. Collectors love error coins. Some of the most sought-after 2021 D quarters feature die breaks, die chips, off-center strikes, and doubled dies. For instance, coins with visible die chips on Washington's hat or face, or doubling on the inscriptions like "I in God We Trust" or "Liberty," can be worth anywhere from $50 to several hundred depending on the size and clarity of the error. These are the types of coins that collectors go crazy for, especially if they are in high-grade condition on top of having an error. Another rare find is the so-called struck-through error, where a foreign object like cloth or grease gets between the die and the planchet, creating a unique imprint. These struck-through errors can vary in value but often fetch over $100 if the mistake is dramatic and clearly visible. Now let's talk about the market. As of now, in 2025, the market for modern error coins is strong. Thanks to YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, coin collecting has exploded in popularity. More people than ever are looking through their change, and this surge of interest is driving prices up. High-grade examples and unique error coins are being snapped up by both collectors and investors. So what should you look for in your pocket change or coin roll hunts? Here's a quick list. 1. Look for high-grade uncirculated coins. 2. Inspect the coin carefully for die chips, doubling, or off-center strikes. 3. Check both sides of the coin for anything unusual. Even the smallest minting anomaly can be worth serious cash. 4. Consider sending your best finds to a grading service like PCGS or NGC if you believe they are in mint state condition or have an unusual error. In summary, while the average 2021 D Washington quarter might only buy you 25 cents worth of goods, the rare ones, the perfect ones, the flawed ones, the ones with a story, can be worth a lot of money. Some have sold for $100, $200, and even more depending on their uniqueness and condition. So do not underestimate this modern coin. It's a piece of living history, and in some cases, a valuable treasure hiding in plain sight. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting content, and drop a comment below if you have a 2021 D quarter in your collection. Who knows, your coin might be worth more than you think. See you in the next video, and happy hunting!